Hi, friends. Welcome back for story time. Today is part 2 of the story we were hearing yesterday for Curious George. Remember, the book is called Curious George Flies a Kite. And yesterday we were hearing about how he was left in the house. He was playing with the ball. He got curious and went outside, went and found the bunny, chased the bunny. They were playing hide and seek. And then he was seeking out another adventure, found somebody was going fishing, and now of course he got curious to see what that's all about. So here we go today with part 2. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks.
George sat down, put some cake on the hook, and let the line down into the water. Now he had to wait, just as the man had waited. George was curious. The fish were curious too. All kinds of fish came to look at the line. Big fish and little fish, fat fish and thin fish, red fish and yellow fish, and blue fish. One of them was near the hook. The cake was just what he wanted. George sat and waited. Then the line shook. There must be a fish on the hook. George pulled the line up. The cake was gone, but no fish was on the hook. Too bad. George put more cake on the hook. Maybe this time he would get a fish. But no, the fish just took the cake off the hook and went away. Well, if George could not get the fish would not get the cake. George would eat it. He liked cake too. He would find another way to get a fish. George looked into the water. That big red one there with the long tail. It was so near, maybe he could get it with his hands. George got down as low as he could and put out his hand. Splash! Into the lake he went. The water was cold and wet, and George was cold and wet too. This was no fun at all. When he came out of the water, Bill was there with his kite. My, you are wet, Bill said. I saw you fall in, so I came to help you get out. Too bad you did not catch a fish, but it is good the fish did not get you. Now I can show you how high my kite can fly, Bill went on. Bill put his bike up near a tree, and then they ran off. There was a lot of wind that day, and that was just what they needed. The wind took the kite up fast. George was too little to hold it in this wind. A kite that big could fly away with him, so Bill had to hold it. George saw the kite go up and up and up. What fun it was to fly a kite! They let the kite fly for a long time, till Bill said, I will get the kite down now. I must go home, and you should too. But when Bill pulled the string in, the kite got into the top of a high tree. Bill could not get it down. Oh, my fine new kite! I cannot let go of it. I must have it back, Bill said. But the tree is too high for me. But no tree was too high for George. He went up to the top in no time. Then little by little, he got the string out of the tree. Down he came with the kite and gave it back to Bill. Thank you, George. Thanks a lot, Bill said. I'm so happy to have the kite back. Now you may have a ride home on my bike. I will run back to the lake and get it. You wait here for me with the kite, but do not let it fly away. George looked at the kite. Then he took the string in his hand. He knew he could not fly the kite in this wind, but maybe he could let it go up just a little bit. George was curious. He let the string go a little, and then a little more, and then a little more, and then a little more. When Bill came back, there was no kite and there was no George. George, he called, where are you? Then he looked up. There they were, way up in the sky. Bill had to get help fast. He would go to the man with the yellow hat. The man would know what to do. George is not here, said the man with the yellow hat when Bill came. Have you seen him? George and my kite are up in the sky near the lake, Bill shouted. I came to... But the man did not wait to hear any more. He ran to his car and jumped in. I will get him back, he said. I must get George back. All this time, the wind took the kite up and George with it. It was fun to fly about in the sky, but when George looked down, the fun was gone. He was up so high that all the big houses looked as little as bunny houses. George did not like it a bit. He wanted to get down, but how? Not even a monkey can jump from the sky. George was scared. What if he never got back? Maybe he would fly on and on and on. Oh, he would never, never be so curious again if just this one time he could find a way to get home. What was that? George could hear something, and then he saw something fly in the sky just like a kite. It was a helicopter, and in the helicopter, hooray, was the man with the yellow hat. Down from the helicopter came a long line. George got hold of it, and the man with the yellow hat pulled him up. George held on to the kite, for he had to give it back to Bill. "I am so happy to have you back, George," said the man with the yellow hat. "I was scared, and you must have been scared too. I know you will not want to fly a kite again for a long, long time. You must give it back to Bill when we get home." "Hooray!" Bill shouted when George came to give him the kite. "George is back, and my kite is back too." And then Bill took George by the hand and went with him into the little garden. And from the little garden into the big garden, where the bunny house was. "Here is one of my baby bunnies," Bill said. "Take it. It is for you." A baby bunny for George. George took it in his hands and held it way up. It was his bunny now. He could take it home with him. And that is what he did. The end.